What does everyone always say when trying to unravel a conspiracy? Follow the money. And in the case of Epstein, not much is known about his finances, and his finances will likely be the key to understanding who he really was and who he was working for. Epstein, a college dropout, was hired to be a private math teacher at the Dalton School in New York. He was hired by a man named Donald Barr, an officer for the OSS, or Office of Strategic Services, and the predecessor agency for the CIA. Notably, Barr, a year before hiring Epstein, wrote a book called Space Relations about a futuristic society run by a group of elites who operate a pedophile ring. Epstein was fired after 2 years at the school for poor performance, but was immediately hired on at the investment bank Bear Stearns through a connection he made teaching the president's son. His work at Stearns largely isn't public, but we're told it had something to do with helping wealthy clients avoid paying taxes, commonly known as tax evasion strategies. Some of these are legal, some of these are not legal. The line's kind of murky. Epstein resigned after 5 years at Stearns for a Regulation D violation, which would be something to do with selling securities that aren't registered on an exchange like the Dow or the NASDAQ. He then went on to found his own financial consulting firm, Intercontinental Assets Group, in 1981. The company would be involved with the Towers Financial Corporation, who later was discovered to be a $450 million Ponzi scheme, although Epstein stopped consulting for the firm a few years before this was made public. Convenient. Besides Towers, one of the only known clients of Epstein's of this period was Anand Khashoggi, an arms dealer heavily involved in the Iran-Contra affair. For those that don't know, the Iran-Contra affair was a famous scandal from the 1980s. It involved the U.S., through Israel, selling weapons to the Iranian regime to fight in the Iran-Iraq War, because America loves perpetual wars, and then using the proceeds of the arms sales to arm Contra rebels in Nicaragua, and likely buy cocaine from the Contras to smuggle into America and fuel the crack epidemic of the 80s. But I digress. In 1988, Epstein founds J. Epstein & Company, a company that will only take on clients that have $1 billion or more to invest with Epstein. The only known client from this firm is Leslie Wexner, founder of L Brands and Victoria's Secret. It has been highly speculated that during his time as a financial advisor, his real purpose was not only to help clients avoid taxes, but hide and launder their money, and then use information gained from helping facilitate these activities to blackmail his clients and skim a little money off the top. It is interesting to note that there is no notable SEC filings from Epstein or his companies, meaning he wasn't trading stocks or options or currency. Other billionaires like Warren Buffett and Berkshire Hathaway, there's a clear paper trail on how they made their money. With Epstein, there's not. Most companies owned by Epstein were based out of the U.S. in tax havens like the Virgin Islands. During this time, he told some acquaintances that he was working for the CIA, but later denied these claims. His incredibly lenient non-prosecution agreement he got in 2008 after being caught engaging in sex acts with minors, a case that had over 38 witnesses, all corroborating each other's stories, and had led to a 53-page indictment by the FBI, known as Operation Leap Year, that was never filed, saw him face 13 months in the private wing of a Palm Beach County jail, and allowed to go on work release 6 days a week for 12 hours a day. The crimes he had committed would have carried a 20 to 30-year minimum sentence in a federal penitentiary.
A federal pound me in the ass prison.
Also, do you know how bad you have to mess up to get the FBI to name an investigation after you? An unnamed Trump official told journalist Vicky Ward of the Daily Beast that Alex Acosta, who was the Southern Florida district attorney who wrote up the 2008 non-prosecution agreement, was asked by the Trump administration during his confirmation as labor secretary why he gave such a lenient sentence to Epstein. He said he was told Epstein belonged to intelligence and the matter was above his pay grade. Acosta has never confirmed or denied this statement was made. Interestingly, the 2008 non-prosecution agreement precedes the terms of the agreement with the phrase, "The interests of the United States, the state of Florida, and the defendant will be served with the following agreement." Usage of the phrase, "the interest of the United States," is unusual. In fact, I can't find another publicly available non-prosecution agreement that uses this language. Usually NPAs use language like in public interest or the interest of justice. To me, this seems like a breadcrumb left in the agreement so anyone that reads it might understand something else, maybe a CIA or national security issue, is at play. The 2008 non-prosecution agreement was not made public until 2018 after extensive reporting on it by the Miami Herald. During the 2019 court case against Epstein, shortly before his death, Epstein filed a financial disclosure statement with the courts saying his assets were around $560 million, around 40% of that being 6 residences he owned. However, he was allowed to file an additional financial disclosure document under seal, a document that is still sealed to this day. Senator Ron Wyden, during a speech on the Senate floor, mentions being allowed under the Biden administration to view a U.S. Treasury file on Jeffrey Epstein that includes 4,725 wire transfers totaling $1.1 billion, or more than double Epstein's net worth in 2019, flowing from Epstein's accounts and into Russian banks. Funds likely used to facilitate international sex trafficking, although this document has never been formally released to the Senate and Epstein's finances have never been formally investigated. As we can see, much of Epstein's finances remain a mystery. How he made his money and his total assets at the time of his death are largely shrouded in mystery. I'm willing to bet if all this came to light, we would have a much clearer picture of who Epstein was and who he was really working for.